back in action. Back in action from the director of good movies like Horrible Bosses and bad movies like Baywatch. Although there were two things I really enjoyed in Baywatch. This is also Cameron Diaz's return to films. Her last film was like 10, 11 years ago. She was in Annie, the Annie remake. And how appropriate. The last movie she was in had Jamie Foxx, and this movie has Jamie Foxx. I skipped it. What was the point of this one? Oh, yeah. She is no stranger to spy comedies. She's done 2 Charlie's Angels films and Night and Day. Anyone ever see Night and Day? James
I do.
Night and Day?
Yep, no. I did see that. It was
like
pretty
a fun
good.
Little movie.
Yeah,
a fun little movie.
It was pretty good.
But now she's back in action on Netflix. This tells the story of 2 secret agents that were on a mission, and she got knocked up. And they were like, all right, well, let's just leave our life, abandon everything, and become just regular parents. And then years later, they have 2 wonderful kids. Their old boss is like, hey, someone's going to kill you. And then he dies. And then immediately you scream at the screen, he's the bad guy. And then you just kind of wait the whole movie for him to be the bad guy. Oh, sorry. Spoilers.
Yep.
And then there's 2 boring cops following them around. And then they hang out with Glenn Close. Joey C., what did you think of Back in Action?
You know, Tony, I feel that Netflix originals have really gone downhill. That being said, though, I hate to admit I slightly enjoyed this movie. It's a real basic, like, spy plot. You know, you folks come out of retirement, kick ass again, like that Nobody movie, if anybody remembers that. Great movie. It was pretty entertaining. I felt that the action shots were pretty fun, over the top as they typically are in these spy movies. The only thing I would change is the antagonist twist. As we all know, that was pretty typical stuff. But
as soon as he got shot, I'm just like, yeah, he's the bad guy.
I knew it right there.
It was so obvious.
But other than that, I mean, I watched these like dumb action movies for the action shots anyhow, and they were pretty good. Especially the sequence on the plane, that was super cool. So I enjoyed it. It was a fun little movie.
Gil, do you agree?
I feel bad that this is the one we're starting with because I got back from vacation yesterday, and today I was like, all right, time to get back to work. And then I remembered I have 7 movies to watch for Tony tonight.
What the fuck?
One of them had to be sacrificed. I watched the first
goodness.
10 minutes of this.
7?
Well, 5. Yeah, 6, I think, if you include
6,
Goosebumps. Yeah. But I feel like from the first 10 minutes, I got enough of a sample to know what my opinion of this movie was going to be overall.
Yeah.
You know, generic action comedy with a little bit of melodrama. Like, I'm pregnant now. This changes everything. Our priorities have now shifted as adults. And it's the kind of movie where an action scene starts and then some upbeat music cuts in. How lucky can one guy be?
Yeah,
and
that happens a lot.
Yeah, so I feel like, you know, I saw enough to know it's that kind of movie. If you're in the mood for it, enjoy it. It's not my kind of thing usually.
Well, Crystal, I know you love this movie. You couldn't wait for Cameron Diaz to be back in action, right?
I actually really like Cameron Diaz a lot. I always enjoy watching her. In almost anything. I think she's a fun actress to watch. I think she can be a great like comedic actor as well. This movie, I saw the trailer and I said, Tony, how the fuck do you pick these movies? How? Like, what the fuck? And I started watching it and I was like, okay, this super, super, super predictable. This is exactly how it's going to go. But halfway through the movie, I actually started really enjoying it. I kind of got sucked in a little bit. As predictable as it is, as corny, you kind of understand very quickly on what kind of movie this is. And then you're just on for the ride at that point. You know it's going to be super predictable. You know it's going to be corny as hell. You know the action is going to be beyond unrealistic, especially for Cameron Diaz to beat up that many big-ass men. You're like, okay, physics.
I like in the beginning, she covers her belly to make sure she doesn't get punched because she has a baby. But it's after she already had been body slammed into a table. I'm like, yeah. I think the damage is already done, lady. Yeah.
That's a good point.
But what bothered me was I was like, okay, so they go off the grid. What do they do? How did they I'm so curious about that. I'm almost more curious about that in between. Like, all right, so they have a brand new life. They have a beautiful house. Like, how How? Where did they like going away from the government and stuff like that? Like they weren't able to go into like a secret, anything secret, really.
I don't know.
I was just so curious.
They probably had money stashed away somewhere. I
guess. And I guess enough connections to get fake passports, fake identities, I guess.
Called the vacuum repair guy from Breaking Bad.
Nah.
Exactly.
But it was just it was fun. It was definitely fun to watch.
Yeah, I was expecting it to be another Lift, which is Crystal's favorite movie of last year. She loved Lift. With who was
That's
in
actually exactly what I thought it was going to be. Yes, you're not wrong.
I thought it was going to be like that too, and I was dreading that because Lift was terrible. This wasn't too bad. Actually, Cameron Diaz is pretty charming in it, and her and Jamie Foxx's chemistry is pretty good. Her with Glenn Close is also pretty good. It was mostly the supporting characters who kind of sucked. Like those two cops, I felt like were there just to pad out the time. The predictable villain kind of killed it for me. There were, like we said, Joey C, there was some pretty good action. That one like car flip stunt was awesome.
Oh my god!
When they're on the highway and it flips, and they shot it in slow motion, it looks like a real car. It's not like CG or anything. I'm like, wow, that actually looked really, really good and was totally solid. It's just a shame it was done on like a Netflix budget. These Netflix movies are really starting to feel kind of samey.
Yeah.
How much longer can they trick people into thinking that these are going to be like grade A movies? Because they are basically direct-to-video movies from the 90s, just with A-list actors. Like, they can't keep this up for much longer, right? Am I alone on that?
Point. No, you make a good point there.
Well, is it working? Like outside? So I know, Tony, you're in the know. You're a movie guy. But how do the mainstream people view these movies? The normies?
They put them on without watching. Netflix, it was like revealed recently that Netflix like specifically is greenlighting stuff that's written in a way that you can have on and not have to watch. And
they were like, characters should be describing what they're doing out loud in case people aren't looking at the screen.
Yes.
I would say my mom's almost like, normie, where it's on, you forget about life, it's kind of fun, it's dumb, you don't have to actually pay attention to it. Yay, movie.
And that's fine if it's like TV. Like TV has been doing that for decades. TV
but now we don't have that much TV. It's not the same TV anymore. So now it's gone into movies.
The problem is that they're still like pretending like these are on par with like Hollywood theater films. And it's like, no, they're not. This is like a made for TV direct to video movie. Like you're supposed to like put it on while you're cooking and stuff. But the fact that they're putting all these A-list actors, like this has got to be costing you guys money, right? Why don't you just make it cheaper, I guess, and there'd be less expectations. But yeah, this wasn't as bad as some of the ones we've covered on here. I'm gonna sneeze, and of course it went away. Right at the last minute. I've been waiting for it to work up, and as soon as I cave in, it goes away.
You're supposed to look at the light. Either if you look at the light, you sneeze, or if you say orange, it goes away.
I literally have a light blasting in my face. I can't.
Well, stare at it.
I knew somebody who told me they love the feeling of when you have to sneeze, but then it ends up not happening. He also liked to open up a bottle of soda, leave it in the fridge, and let it kind of go flat after a few days. He's like, I don't like the bubbles.
Oh, that's sacrilegious.
What?
That's called a psychopath.
Are they a murderer? What's going on there?
Jeffrey Dahmer. I bet they have glasses too that look like him.
I would hate to have glasses that make me look like Jeffrey Dahmer. That would be the worst thing ever.
Yeah, it'd be really, really bad, wouldn't it?
But yeah, back in action. It's okay. This feels like a date movie. Valentine's Day is coming up. If you don't want to go out, if you need like this, it's got enough fun stuff for girls, enough action for guys. I'll never watch it again. I just wanted to support my girl Cameron, even though Charlie's Angels ruined my birthday because the girls hijacked the show and reviewed Charlie's Angels.
Not all girls.
Anyway, that's it for Back in Action. Next up,